Hey guys, Darcebius here with the Blood of Asaheim. Ian, how you doing, buddy?
Not bad yourself.
I'm doing alright, and we are back for round two for the Wolf and the Raven's Squiggly Beast Squigpocalypse. A Squigpocalypse now. Please do prepare
Squig.
your puns and squigs
Oh
because
Jesus. Squiggpocalypse 2, Electric Boogaloo.
exactly, we are all about the weird 40k fluff and puns today. We are delving into the draw of Orkia for Flatpack Squigs goodness. Good. I've already lost Ian. So
I'm here for you, buddy. Somehow I'm still hanging on.
so last time we ended with hair, and we kind of missed out one that we didn't have a picture of. So we're going to start with. We mentioned slightly the attack form
Yes.
version. We had a little picture of the attack squig there, which can be strapped with explosives to be
Yeah.
an exploding squig. But there is a specific exploding squig apostrophe s exploding squig.
Not exploding, exploding.
Exploding. A bit like Poussin, accent a droite, bitch. But yeah, apostrophe s. Oi. So, exploding squigs. Awesome, kind of basically giant stomach of stomachs.
Yeah, what can you say about these? They have multiple stomachs with different acids in it. You shake them up and throw them.
Big, big bada boom.
Yeah. Honestly, that's it. I mean,
Yeah.
you throw them, they're going to explode, bone shards and teeth are going to go everywhere. Orcs sometimes force feed them metal, so they become a fragmentation grenade. And they're also sometimes used as mines, I believe.
Yeah. The fragmentation part is just horrifically beautiful. Just the idea of an orc just stood there with like the
I've got like the worst,
stuffing
most
it in.
morbid image, and maybe because I watched too many horror movies, of like an orc just trying to like shove in razor blades and rusty nails and shit.
And then, but also just going up in its face, because that's going to happen from time to time. Because it's just you literally
Yeah,
agitating
like
it, and
you're
it goes.
literally like holding it in your hand and jamming these things in. The chemicals are mixing up, and there must be a couple of decapitations and stuff.
It's a bit like kind of doing Play-Doh with Semtex, to a certain extent. That's the image I've got.
Play-Doh with Semtex.
And he said they
Yeah, pretty much.
also mines, so a little bit of a shake and leave them out somewhere, or hope that a big sort of Land Raider
I,
rolls
I,
over.
would, I would I would say it's more of like a Land Raider or a tank or marching Imperial Guardsmen or something like that.
Oh, squelch, boom.
Yep.
Jeffrey's gone. So yeah, exploding squids. We're starting with an not an explosive, explosive start.
Jesus.
Right, moving swiftly on, we have some beautiful images here of top left. We have the herd squig,
Ah, yes.
or the squig hounds by another name. Terrifying, large, dangerous livestock kept by Gretchen. In my notes here, it says Gretchen ... farmers ? Oh, I suppose they are farmers.
They are. They're kind of sheepdogs.
Yep.
They herd Gretchen. I just runt herds use them to herd Gretchen.
Oh,
Uh,
and I can imagine other forms of sort of.
Oh yeah,
bovine
I can imagine it used with other
sort
forms of squig
squiggly
and stuff
life.
as well. Yeah, but they're great tracking beasts. They are really fast.
Very nice.
They're often runt herds are often hired to use these things to track lost items of equipment and stuff like that. I think they've got about 8 legs we worked out last time.
Well, we're just
So
looking
they,
at it, they're kind of it's like squatting down, but then there's like
it's kind of like Odin's horse, but on crack.
yeah, yeah, they're just arms everywhere.
Yeah, it's a bit of Sleipnir on crack. They're also just, they react to whistles and calls of their owners. So you've got that whole, excuse me, that whole kind of one man and his dog thing going on. Come back, come back. Stop eating that one, come back.
An orc with a crook and like a fluffy
Well,
squig
if you
under
look
one
at the
arm.
models of runt herds, they have that big pincer, that's effectively
Yeah.
their crook.
This is true. A slightly more brutal crook, but yes.
Yes. But as an orc, you wouldn't have a normal crook, would he?
No, this is true. And they're like, so they're sheepdogs. They can be trained. They have uses, but kind of look like a rat ogre went wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
And it looks like it can barely, again, like the kind of gnashing squig, it can barely close its mouth.
No, it can't. It actually just closes and it's a wall of teeth. Like, those just interlock and that's it. Like, there's no way that's closing.
Has a tiny little elephantine, like, snouty
Yeah,
thing on
it's
top
got a
as well.
snout at the end that's kind of got that elephant kind of top fold on it.
Glorious.
All praise to these artists that came up with this stuff, because they must have been smoking some seriously good stuff.
Indeed. Sticking with proboscis, I never thought that those words would leave my mouth. Sticking with proboscis, on the top right here we have the oily squig.
Yes.
There's a long nose, and it is kind of produces oil,
Yes.
squig oil, which is used by mechs and basically lots in various different forms.
Oh yeah, this is your motor oil, your engine oil, your WD-40, whatever else you want to use it for.
Oh, I thought we said in the last video we weren't going to go there. It's mech lubricant, but
Yes.
but for things like stompers and
Yes.
all that sort
You're
of
making
thing.
this so much better right now.
Good. I'm trying to clean things up. Trying to keep things.
So there's kind of two ways of acquiring this squig oil. One is often used by grots and gretchens, where they'll actually hold it under their arm, have a big tube. Either it's like proboscis or a piece of equipment attached to it with a tube and a petrol pump tap that they'll just put there and then squeeze the squig and it'll all fly out.
The old pumping,
Or
shoulder pumping.
yes. Much like a bagpipe or something like that, I think. You just kind of pump it and then the oil flies out. Or if there's a massive wah going on, they'll often use a massive pressing machine to just juice the squigs into vats of oil, which are then transferred into canisters.
Because they just need insane amounts of it.
Yes.
Basically. There's
I mean,
so
if
much
you're
need for a
going
wah.
on a proper wah, you don't have time for the Gretchen to come out and do this, that, and the next thing. The mechs want their stuff done super fast and super efficiently. So, I mean, for orcs, efficiency's a thing, right?
Synergy is more the orcs.
I'm just imagining orcs in a presentation with a PowerPoint and synergy now. Back to the dapper squigs in the office. The dapper orcs, sorry. Yeah, but these are effectively just your kind of maintenance squig, I suppose you could say.
And they're producing a very useful unguent.
Yes. Yes.
But also, what you're saying when they're for a big wah, and they're producing lots of it. I also had the image of. I feel awful because I can't remember. It's definitely a sort of a Mediterranean, European thing. It's either Spain or Italy.
The crushing all the tomatoes and
Crushing all the
stuff.
tomatoes. I just had this image of all these orcs just stood in large barrels,
Stomping on them.
on these squigs. Just an
Um,
image, just a personal
yeah.
personal fantasy of mine.
Very much. That's an interesting word to use. It does mention that Gretchen will often just stomp on them to get oil out. So I've got this image of the squig trying to run away. So Gretchen just jumps after it.
Just a Gretchen just completely missing, maybe landing face first, just
Yep.
getting to cover a face full. Wonderful. So
I want to meet the first mech that decided I'm going to squeeze this and use it as motor oil.
I don't want to know what they were using before, though.
They're probably just spitting on it.
Yeah,
You know what orcs are like?
it's
Yeah,
true.
that'll do.
It's all about elbow grease and belief with the orcs.
Yeah, pretty much.
So next, the bottom left, we have the brightly coloured filled lung. Effectively, is the paint squig.
Yes.
Just essentially looking like an internal organ filled with
Yeah.
essentially paint.
Yes. This is where you find all your the colours of the bad moons, the colour of the goths, whatever. It's all paint squigs and it's all the fluids they produce. Gretchen are kind of the ones that will sit and be painting this.
The artistes.
Yes. Some paint squigs will always also have a tuft of hair for a tail, which is then obviously used as a brush.
Are we snapping this off? Or are we?
No.
No.
You're going to squeeze out from one end and then use the other end as a paintbrush. And they'll also use the shells of edible squigs as palettes for painting with.
Very nice. Because we were talking in our failed attempt, but last time about the various different how the sort of weird kind of psychic wild magic nature of orcs could affect things around them, and I just love the idea that if you're the goths are going to have white and black paint squibs.
If you believe hard enough,
Yeah.
the paint will be the colour you want.
Exactly, and Red's doom will have more fun. No, go faster. That's it.
Yes.
Yes, red's much faster. And the last one on this page, we have the rather funky
Jesus.
and
The nightmare
terrifying
squig.
the nightmare squig, which is the parasite hunting squig.
Ugh.
So it's like a spider brain with a gnashing squig on the front with a chameleon's tongue.
Yes.
Good.
This is another one of those really weird, much like the gob squig, means of orc hygiene that you didn't think they'd have because they're orcs.
Orc hygiene.
Yes,
That's what we're
that's a
talking
word
about right now.
never thought you'd hear. These little animals, they'll basically just place on their body, under their clothes, whatever, and it will root around and eat any parasites and pick up any dirt on their body. At which point, once it's done, or perhaps if they're just feeling a bit peckish, they will then eat said parasite hunting squig.
Wonderful. Crunchy.
Yes.
A crunchy delicacy.
And I bet it screams.
Oh my god.
Let that just sink in. Let that nightmare fuel sink
just
in.
that face. Just... Oh. It's just a horrible, horrible image. And just... So that is crawling around the body.
Yes.
Essentially all day.
Its 8 little spindly, sharp limbs are crawling around your body, finding any parasites, probably popping spots, and picking up any dirt.
Recent scientist studies say there is a parasite. Yeah, but recent scientist studies say there is a parasite hunting squig on you at most times, but especially now.
I'm imagining that picture like you see on the internet now of an orc. It's like doctors hate him. Find out why now.
But also, it just brings up the idea that there are other things that are even worse and that are not going to be wanted on the orc's body, which is even scarier.
Like, there's going to be something really bad. I mean, I'm guessing there must be a squig version of a leech, more than the hair squigs were.
Yeah.
Squig fleas, squid ticks.
Because this is the other thing. When we kind of come to the end, we could talk about this a bit more. Like, the squigs do exist from kind of like almost bacterial form all the way up to giant crazy.
They must coexist the same way that orcs do in form like that. So there could be any variation of squigs that someone hasn't come across yet. And probably because they burned the fucking thing before they looked at it.
What is it? What could it be used for? Well, it looks like a pair of earmuffs with giant teeth.
The Inquisition walk in there, the Ordo Xenos, and they're just like, no, fuck this. You don't pay me enough
to
I
study
don't care
that.
enough.
No. And speaking of variation, we're getting into some very weird things, and also some things more common, or more used to seeing. So here we've got top left, we've got the spiky squig, who is kind of like a round thwomp from Mario, who we all know porcupines kind of stick up their quills when kind of scared. Instead, this one launches them.
Yes.
Oh dear.
I could see this being really handy in catapults when you could launch them.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you're quick enough to give them a swift punt before they go off.
So, sorry, you want to kick that?
Yes. I'll wear steel toe caps.
In its face, maybe. In
its stupid little grinning face. Yes, definitely.
It's got a very smug, kickable face. I'm going to give it. Some of them are gormless, some of them are cute. This guy knows he's a prick.
Oh my god! This could be orc golf. This is orc golf. That's what they use.
That's a beautiful image.
The question is, do they use a piece of wood or do they have a club squig?
I think.
I'm just imagining the club squig as you swing it screams out 4 at the top of its lungs.
So now I have the image of the flamingos from Alice in Wonderland, but in squig form. Just misbehaving.
These are the workings of a damaged mind, if you can't tell.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, that's the spiky squig. Moving on from that, on the far right we have the squidgen.
One of my personal favourites.
I believe am I pronouncing that correct? Squidgen? Like
I believe
pigeon?
it's squidgen or squiggian. I don't know how you actually say it. Squidgen.
So essentially a pigeon squig.
Yes, that's it. It is your average squig shape, ball with legs and teeth, but it has feathery wings, and it's often used as a messenger bird animal thing.
When we say it's more sort of like the ferally more primitive. Orcs.
Yeah, I would say I'd say when you're talking about what I would just call space orcs.
Yeah.
You're looking at guys that have some sort of means of communication, whereas these guys would probably be used by tribes and feral orcs that don't have that. They're still using sticks and stones and whatnot.
Like Craft World to Exodite Eldar sort of difference.
Yeah. Exactly. That's a good way of putting that, actually. So with these guys, they're adorable, first of all.
They are
also,
adorable.
My personal favourite, in these images, you will notice, if it's big enough, that the Squidgian actually has a messenger bag.
It does indeed.
And it looks quite happy when it's flying, when it's not being shot at. It's quite content with its life. It's not got a bad life compared to a lot of other Squigs. It knows that. It's not getting eaten. They're not using it for sport.
No.
They're not kicking it about or making it explode. It's got quite a good little life.
As far as Squigs go, although in this image it is not a happy
No,
Squig.
it's not
it
happy
is flying through a clusterfrack of missiles. Although, so essentially, this is your World War One
Messenger pigeon.
pigeon. So you'll just have the image of the orc Blackadder, where one day it may well get eaten. I don't think it's definitely safe.
Can someone draw one of these things and put one of the tin helmets the British Army used to use on it with a big rim? I think that would just finish the look perfectly.
Oh, a beautiful image there. So yeah, Squidgen, nice and cute.
Mm-hmm.
The Squig Hawk, on the other hand, in the middle here.
Not so cute.
No, that's
That's a
basically
fucking dragon.
a dragon Charizard Squig.
You know when people start drawing real life Pokemon, you know, and what they actually look like, and they're quite horrifying. That is a Charizard.
Yeah, because this is the thing. Just as a quite side note, people always say awesome if Pokemon were real, but Beedrill's like 8 foot, 9 foot tall. That's a terrifying prospect. And again, these guys are going to be about that kind of size. Like they're going to be terrifying. Basically, flying dinosaur dragon death.
Yes.
Kind of the least useful of the Squigs.
They are. I know, because they can't even be trained. They're too wild to be trained, and they're big enough to eat fully grown orcs. They are a terror. This is when I think orc ecology, their entire environment, becomes hostile even to orcs.
Yeah,
like it's that advanced.
Yeah, I don't imagine like a rock lands on a planet next day, Squighawk.
No, this is years down the line at the point where Squigs can evolve to this size.
Definitely, and it's nice to know that if the orcs do win,
they're probably going to get fucked up.
They're still going to have issues with their fourth cousins,
which we'll see with another Squig in a second.
Indeed.
However, I think Seb wants to torture me first.
We do need to torture you first. Let's just show you one more time. We do have the flag there behind you. I am sounding wonderfully posh in English, and we are aware that you are Scottish. So let's move on without any kind of stereotyping or prejudice.
From your stupid fecking accent.
So, bottom left corner, this wonderful chap is a Squig pipe, and I think Ian, would you like to comment?
It's a fucking bagpipe, Squig. Do you need any more?
I suppose not. I suppose not.
It's inflated by blowing down a proboscis, and when they're squeezed, they'll make disturbing sounds. So they're basically making fun of the bagpipes all around it, the bastards. It's also 1,000 times more cacophonous than any human. Why are the Slaanesh guys not on top of this?
Interesting phrasing.
Yeah, cacophonous especially.
And also multiple orify.
Yes.
Orify? Is that
orifices? Orifices?
Yeah.
Orify? I don't. Yeah, basically it's just tucked under one arm. It's used as a bagpipe.
It's a bagpipe. Let's just move on.
It's a bagpipe.
We haven't got a shortcake or a heroin Squig. It's going to be okay. This is not national attacking.
You don't have the Eke Squig either.
That's right.
No knife Squigs.
There's some Morris dancing and B&P Squig somewhere else as well, just to make fun of the English too.
What about the EDF?
But the one last thing before we leave this beautiful Squig is just the eyes. And just how they're positioned, just to stare out at you.
You don't say that there's heroin Squigs, but that Squig looks like it's on heroin.
This is true. This is very true. But actually, we're moving on to the next panel now, and bottom left could be a heroin Squig, but we'll get to that in a moment.
Jesus.
So top left, we have Squig Sharks.
Yes. This is what we're saying about the environment getting worse for orcs as they're around longer. These are like megalodon-sized sharks.
Giant, terrifying, even more teeth, even bigger teeth than normal sharks.
It does mention that they're obviously very dangerous, and many orc sailors have ended their lives as food, which makes me wonder if they're on the planet long enough that some orcs have not become peaceful but are doing other things than fighting.
Well, exploring by boat is a fairly sort of sophisticated type thing to do. Well, I like that image. But again, we're saying this is long time. Long time. Because, again, this is the whole spores have got into the ocean.
Oh, yeah. This is like when the entire tribe have beard squigs. They're all that old.
Indeed, sat there stroking, looking, fishing for shark squigs. That's extreme. That is extreme Nasher squigging. Face-eating squig. If you could hold up a shark squig and eat that before it eats you, now that I would be impressed. But everything has sharks.
Everything has sharks, yes.
And 40k is not dissimilar. There, it was in Black Tide by James Swallow, I think, one of the red angels, blood angels. That's what they're called. The Ultramarines and the Red Angels. But there's Tyranid sharks, so obviously there must be orc sharks as well. Mm-hmm. Xenos sharks of death, essentially.
Yes, I mean there's Tyranid sharks as well. Let's face it, we know that happens.
Moving on to the top right, something a little bit more soft and fluffy, a little bit more friendly, is a Squig.
Yes.
It's kind of a fluffy living poultice, or swab.
Yeah, it's literally exactly what it says in the tin. Mad docs use them to swab up blood, mop up things, or simply just orcs use them as handkerchiefs. So it's another one of the really depressing feck in life. Actually, you know I made the joke about the toilet paper squig earlier? This is the toilet paper squig.
Yes, that could definitely be used, and they look slightly disgruntled.
However, it can bite smaller creatures such as snotlings, so maybe not the best advice to use that as toilet paper.
Yes, unfortunately we don't have that image here, but we did post that up on the Alice Index when we had our technical difficulties.
When we had, we put that post up saying how the machine spirit hated us, we used a picture of the swab squig biting a snotling in the arse. Because
it's a very fluffy thing, but still it's a squig, so there are teeth hidden in the fluff.
Here's one of the few squigs we found that didn't have teeth.
The syringe squig.
Yes.
Not the heroin squig. We've left that. That's gone. That's
close enough. Maybe it's the methadone squig.
Oh, yes.
Some may be cringing right now, but I live in Glasgow. I can make these jokes. Trust me. So
the syringe squig, it basically is just a pipette. A living pipette full.
It is a living syringe.
Yeah.
Mad dogs breed into different sizes, which were, Seb?
I
know you want to say this.
They're small, big, and earthy.
Effectively, they are just anaesthetic for a orc when it goes through some sort of ridiculous surgery.
Yeah. It's one of those weird ones because they're both used for surgery when the pain boy is feeling kind of generous. But if you're talking about a mad dogs generally prefer the pain. But they also can be used to knock them out, which is the Urti, can take them out for a few days. Generally, we're leaving them sans teeth, as it were.
Yeah, sans teeth and probably missing a few limbs.
Yes, or maybe additional ones sewn on for fun.
Yeah, maybe Fabius Bile finds the orc lying there knocked out, and horrible things happen.
Oh dear! If that just ruins any story, doesn't it? And Fabius Bile turned up. ...
And the story just goes.
Although he is a wonderful enigmatic bastard.
Yes.
I have to say.
I have a bone to pick with him in several Space Wolf occasions, but
other than that, lovely chap. That whole thing with the raptors. Anyway.
I'll think the raptors and the Raven Guard and the Wolf Brothers. Blood Angels, I believe he was involved with, according to James Swallow.
Yeah, he has fingers and mechadendrites in many pies.
Many horrifying fleshy pies.
Oh, fleshy pie, bad. That's a fleshy pie squig. So moving on, we have
Does a fleshy pie squig create its own pastry?
If a tree squig falls in the wood, does it make a noise? Oh dear,
orc philosophy, ladies and gentlemen.
To orc or not to orc. So the last one we have on this the last one we have on this page is the targeting squig. Kind of does what it says on the tin. We're still not sure about it though.
Yeah, they're just biological equivalents instead of git finders, which are used by flash gits, which are just sites. The way we kind of decided it worked last time was it's probably like hardwired into the orc user's brain.
Yeah, and it's got like a predatory vision, like birds and other sort of prey.
It's going to have like either that or it will actually have literal predator vision, but it's just thermals.
Yeah, and as we can see in the image there is technology.
Yeah, there's a wire coming out the side of its head or something. Yeah.
But again, it looks very much like like a standard sort of attack squig, both in the colour and the sort of shape of it and everything.
Except for the awesome eye that has a reticule on it.
Yeah, and an organic eye with a reticule.
Yes.
What more could you ask for?
Heroin Squigs.
Heroin Squigs. Okay, fair enough. I got that. I dreaded even bringing that up, but now I know you're reveling in your short.
No, it's all right. You can make fun of the Scots all you want because we'll headbutt you sooner or later.
Oh dear! Isn't that the Glasgow kiss? Is that not?
Yes, exactly.
Right. So before I get beaten up internationally, we should probably move on to vampire squigs.
I like how he says "beat up" rather than me getting into that and using my colourful language.
Indeed, verbally assaulted with your accent.
Trust me, I can verbally assault quite well with this accent. It's not difficult, you'll find.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's a beautiful language if you want to swear at folk.
Indeed. Right, vampire squigs. Kind of speak for themselves. Vampire batty, slightly bulbous, sort of gullety belly like a toad. Big ass fangs.
It does mention here that orc pain boys and probably orc docs will use these to bleed their patients in a sort of like bloodletting leech therapy sort of thing.
Kind of alleviating the need for Screeches. That's the name for squig leeches.
Screeches.
And they screech. Sorry, we're talking about vampire squigs.
I mean, they're used to suck away bad blood from septic wounds, as it says. They do not care where the blood comes from, so basically they're cornate. They do not care from where the blood flows.
Yeah. Well, they're kind of sick cornate septic blood, and yeah, that's kind of glorious.
It does mention here that the pain boy tries to extol the benefits of regular bleeding so he can keep the things fed and happy. Yes,
because they're the kind of thing you do need to keep fed, even if they're not being
effectively
used.
He's like a medieval Renaissance doctor.
Yeah. Well, even today, there's that glorious image of someone keeping mosquitoes alive in a lab, and it essentially is just someone with their arm out, with their arm covered in mosquitoes.
Oh, that's disgusting. That's a horrible...
Good! We're talking about squiggly beasts, and actually a real-life thing has gone too far.
Yes.
Right, so before things get any weirder...
I see what you did there.
Shall we go on to the weird squig?
Yes, we shall.
Weird squigs, here. Big, scary, krang on crack brain.
It's a mutant breed of the Nasher squig. I love that. It was originally a face eater gone wrong.
And just considered the thought of why I'm being dangled above an orc for too long and became kind of psychically charged and more intelligent.
They are effectively psychic bombs.
Yeah. They're kind of like the Spoding squigs. Again, in many ways, they have kind of they have these nodes, all these sort of neural nodes that are full of like psionic force, and when agitated or kind of
it has to be killed.
Oh, yeah, when it dies, it's like an EMP blast almost, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. With teeth, obviously.
But with teeth, yes. I'd say it's more of a weapon to be used against psychers, librarians. The Eldar would feckin' hate that.
Yeah. Well, so again, there's parallels between things. It's like maybe I might be. People might not enjoy this. This may be wrong, but it's kind of like a very simplified, like Zoanthrope kind of thing.
No, I can see that.
Yeah, but more
very,
like
very simplified.
Very, very simplified.
More of a bomb and anything else, yeah.
And also we have here some wonderful. I think it's the first edition Rogue Trader era. Just to
this is early ridiculous I mean, most of this will be early ridiculous 40k, but good God, these are just look at the faces.
And there's a few. There's a
growler squig there.
Yeah, there's a flesh eating. There's that scary, terrifying thing that looks like Big Bird without a body.
Yeah, tomato with legs. Yeah.
So
There's also your attack squig hasn't changed that much when you see that one in the bottom left corner there.
no, that's very true. And there's the kind of like an arachnidy one, and maybe a parasite hunter there.
Yes.
But the idea is that like we've barely scratched the surface of Squigs.
Yeah.
They're
I mean, these are the ones that we can find any information of from the Lexicanum.
Yeah.
And things like that. However, I am willing to say that there's thousands more that have not been written about and are just waiting to be written about.
Definitely infinite uses. We've talked about earmuffs. I like the idea of like cotton buds. Yes. Any kind of tools and uses.
Spanner squig.
Spanner squig, amazing. Or saw, just one huge jagged like tooth thing.
Teeth.
Yeah. And again, as we said in the last one, come up with your own and submit them to Allies Index. We'd lovely.
Seriously, I'd love that. I'd love that so much. I'd love to see pictures of ridiculous squigs. I don't care if you just draw a ball with a set of boobs on it. It'd be still funny as hell just to have that.
Yeah, and just a little, like a couple of sentences or two to say what it would be used for.
Yes, if you can find out a good reason to have that,
yeah.
And not just it's orc entertainment, lol, then please try it.
That would be awesome. So yeah, like they can be anything from kind of like orcoid microbes on the body to giant things. I don't have a picture of these, but there are kind of
you know what these things look like.
Blown up giant squigs of air that are basically form the breathable superstructure of an orc ship, and then you build kind of round that, which is just bananas. But I love the idea of living inside a giant squig in space.
It's almost Tyrannidy.
It is very Tyrannidy. It's probably kind of an older kind of back when they were linked. There's that weird sort of link with squigs and Tyrannids kind of.
There has been mention of it as a possible species of Tyrannid at one point. Or something along those lines. Very much the same idea of a lot of the animal life that lives in the seas of Fenris could be remnants of a biofleet.
But again, these could possibly be retconned, and this is mere speculation. But if you want to think that, you want to set the idea of more sort of Tyrannidy squigs, kind of bringing the best elements of Tyrannids and orcs together, then by Jingo, have at it.
Squig Stealer.
To do Squig Stealer? Oh my god. Beautiful.
I just want to see a squig with like legs and 6 arms in the face of a gene stealer, and people just going, "What are you?" Really?
Oh. And then obviously the second, third generation of the Squig Stealer, it's just like half human, half Tyrannid, half orc. This is horrific
Well, keep in mind you used to get orcish gene stealer cults back in the day.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. Well, there you go. Another mystery solved, maybe.
Yes.
If you say that confidently and move on, I think that. So from
another mystery solved. Which one? Fuck knows, but there's one solved.
Exactly. We submit authority. And one before we sort of come off, we've got a couple other little things to look at quickly. We have Squiggles.
Yeah, little things.
Yeah, little things. We've got is it large Squiggles and the gargantuan Squiggles?
Squiggles, then you get your gargantuan Squiggles.
That's the one. So we have them here, like living. They're like
they're dinosaurs.
Yeah, giant,
especially bred
dinosaurs.
And just shoved full of orc steroids and feed formulas and God knows what else. Gives the creature a better quality of life to the point where they grow to the size of dinosaurs that they can put in. I think in terms of Howdah, the big kind of fortress in the back.
Oh right, yeah.
And then of course you've got your gargantuan Squiggles, which is just a bigger version, and then you finally get your Orcheosaurus, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, we have the Orcheosaurus here. We don't have an actual art image of it, but it's actually a model from Epic 40k. So to give you an idea, it is much bigger.
It's that big. It only kind of appears in Epic. Yeah,
and it's sort of specific to the Feral Orcs again. It's the giant sort of dinosaur.
I'd say probably I mean, I could see Space Orcs using it as well and putting different guns, but it is a bit Feral Orc looking in that picture, especially with the sort of almost headdress type thing it has on.
Well, I said so last time. It looks like a Stomper. Like
yeah.
Not Stomper. What are the new ones? Oh, Gorkanaut or
Gorkanaut. Yeah.
Or something's been put on top of it there.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically.
This is also the one that you said looks closest to an orc as well, which I find kind of interesting.
Yes, it does have a very orky face. If you see that
thing where they evolve from orcs, but obviously they're squigs. But then it makes you see that connection a bit more between squigs and orcs.
Definitely, because another thing we were discussing, going back to the picture of the Squiggles here, is this is all fungus. All orcoids are fungus.
Yes, it's all fungus.
So that is a giant piece of fungal matter.
It's a fucking
with
mushroom.
Massive teeth and horns and stuff everywhere. Obviously, everything metal has been added to it.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, that's just bananas. Growing giant, because they're essentially the war elephants, aren't they? They're the mammoths
Yeah,
of
they are.
the giants.
Yeah.
They're the war elephants.
The Oliphants from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
You know.
They still count as one.
Yes.
Oh,
I am suddenly imagining an Emperor's Children marine and an orc, space wolf, or a steel claw, perhaps.
Oh, it's a glorious image. Oh, my brain just turned off. I was gonna say something, and it was completely no. I just love the idea of the whole battle fortress on them as well. It's just glorious.
Yeah, like in terms of size, when you think of an Archaeosaurus, there's probably a literal fortress in the back of that.
Yeah.
You're not talking about a few guys in a wee bunker with a cannon that rotates. You're talking about a fortress.
And also, do you see the size of the teeth on that? When
Yes.
it dies or when the teeth come out, like, can you imagine? That's a small fortune.
Yes.
I imagine Boris is somewhere away getting ridiculously excited about what
Don't
he can
tell him
spend
about
now.
the flesh eater squigs, actually. I mean,
Yes, no flesh eater squigs for Mr. Boris. Because he is an orc obsessed with teeth. Every single time we kill anyone in Rogue Trader or even in Only War, he kept forgetting that he wasn't an orc. Every time a body hits the floor, he's like, "Can I roll for teeth?" And one day he'll get to spend them.
roll for teeth is effectively just how many drop out when he punches himself in the face, or what?
When he's sort of over cadavers and things.
For God's sake.
We had one last form of orcoid kind of fungal life that
Yes.
you kind of brought to my attention. You wanted to talk about a little bit here.
Jeez, I mean, there's several little actual fungal species. When we say fungal species, I actually mean actual mushrooms.
Yeah, actual.
You've got your puffballs, which effectively are just give out poisonous spores. Your speckled bloodshade fungus, which again is just a fungus which probably kills you. It can also speed up the orc metabolism somehow. Okay.
Red Bull.
Yeah. You get your gobbusters, which are really, really spicy mushrooms, kind of big ball-shaped things.
Like
And
spicy gobstoppers.
yes, and it's a sign of self-endurance if you can finish one in one go. There you go. And the older the mushroom is, or the fungus is, the stronger it is, until some orcs, even the strongest, have to spit them out.
Wow.
Anyway, leading us on to Seb's personal favourite of the fungal life. You have the mushling and snot room. Now, this thing comes about when snotlings, gretchens, whatever, will feed on fungus, and to the point of overfeeding, and it gives a very strange side effect that they start to become, as they're putting it here, fungoid. They vegetate. They become rooted to the ground. At first, they're just lazy, which probably isn't very different for a snotling anyway. They'll effectively just become a mushroom. They root themselves to the ground and become a fungus.
And we have this
The only thing left is the snotling's face.
and a little bit of a hand. I think we can sort of see
Also,
in this image here.
they become really tough and quite large, and they're eaten in festive occasions.
Oh, good. like a fungoid sort of pinata of joy.
They're a fungus turkey.
Fungus turkey. Oh. Oh dear, with all the trimmings. And
Yes.
here we see a wonderful old orc here sitting on.
This is you can just see the age of this illustration when you look at it now.
Yeah.
Even the shape of the orc's head's not quite the same. He looks a bit more elfin than he does orcish.
But we can just see him sitting kind of on the top of the head. We see the face kind of squashed of the and
Yeah,
the,
you
the
can
hand
make it
twitching at the back.
An arm, a face, and an ear just about.
Yeah. So, right. There still is something, like, I know I'm trying to apply logic and reason to orcs and squigs, which is probably not the best
Which is a bad idea.
Yeah. But, so, when Snotlings and Gretchen, who are fungal orcoid life,
Yes.
don't stop eating, essentially, squigs, which are, again, a more meaty form of fungal orcoid life.
Yes.
But start eating actual fungal mushroomy mushrooms, they become mushrooms. Because there's not enough fungus and mushrooms in the orc society that we needed kind of fungalception. It is orcception,
Well,
essentially.
if you think about it, when we're talking about the drops and the pits where these life, squig life comes from.
Yep.
You're talking about a fungal swamp.
A fungal jamboree.
Exactly. A fungal jumbo, maybe.
Jumbo. Oh.
You're just talking like mushrooms, as we know in real life, although I have not tried and don't really want to, have some strange side effects. Now, for the side effects of these little snotlings, it just happens to be that if they eat that much and obviously different fungal forms mix in their stomach, they will become a fungus themselves.
See,
It actually sounds like the stories you'd tell your young snotlings to keep them away from eating too many mushrooms.
this is true because the thing is, the thing that's great about all this fluff stuff and stuff we will talk about in the future, and things is anything in 40k to a certain extent can be
Apocryphal.
That's the word,
Yes.
apocryphal, because it's all second hand, and like most sort of background books and things, it's all presented from the Imperium's point of view. So it's how the Imperium has heard of it or understood it. So I do love the idea of it being like a cautionary tale for snotlings.
Yeah. Although at the same time there are eating festive occasions, so it could either be that there's a fungus that really looks like a snotling, or it actually happens.
Also, the idea of a snotling or a Gretchen just becoming more docile and tripping balls and just suddenly becoming a mushroom is just a glorious.
Well, the way they put it in the Elecsquig is lazy and feckless. Feck to me is not the word that I'd use because that means something else entirely to me. However, they basically become really lethargic to the point where I'm guessing the runt herds won't even keep them. They'll just be like, "Ah, fuck you, away," and they'll go to the edge of the drop and then suddenly root themselves.
Yeah, okay,
And become a fungus.
Fair enough.
It's kind of a tragic story.
It is sad, mushroom people. They are sad, angry, fun mushroom people on a whole. that is orcs and that is squiggly beasts, I think.
I suppose what you're actually seeing is, as you said, orcs and Gretchens, snotlings, whatever, are fungal life.
Mm-hmm.
They are devolving into plant fungal life rather than sentient fungal life.
Yeah, they're going the opposite way of Squigs, basically.
There you go.
Well, essentially, the ecosystem is that they always, as we said, they bring it with themselves, but it basically goes every which way because anything can kind of eat anything or be eaten by anything.
That's why you'll find in certain stories, and I'm pretty sure probably in the lore, after an orc invasion's been battered away, they'll be burning orc corpses and burning the ground they were on because the spores get everywhere.
Oh, and you have countless kind of mini uprisings, and they can even take hold. Cause
that's where feral orcs come from, because it could be, I know in the Forest of Armageddon, they just lost some spores and they just appeared as feral orcs after a while.
Okay, so that just basically they are the awkward equivalent of the people lost in Old Night, the people that are being sort of reclaimed through the Great Crusade and being brought to part of the Imperium. They would be effectively that for orcs. They've been cut off from orc society, and they know nothing other than to be feral orcs.
It's not even that. It's orc society is a given. There's always going to be tribes, war bosses, whatever. But
bigger the better.
But see, because they're obviously on a planet with no technology that they know of, they're growing up in a different way.
Yep.
So they still have their typical, this is my tribe, I am the war boss, I am the biggest, thus I am the best. But they don't have the weapons and the ability of, space travel or flight, so they just become feral orcs.
Fair play.
That's when you see axes, sticks, stones, catapults full of angry flying squigs and stuff like that appear.
Indeed, and sort of basically forgetting they're in 40k and thinking they're
in fantasy.
They're in their fantasy equivalent. Because we also need to say this is 40k stuff we're talking about. We're not really getting into fantasy squigs. There are all sorts of weird squigs.
Yeah, I'm not big in fantasy, so I'd love to hear more about it. If anyone wants to just start sending me messages and instructing me on how fantasy works and what the lore is, by all means go ahead. However, I'm a 40k guy.
Because that's the thing, we're happy to talk about any interesting weird bits of lore, both 40k and fantasy.
Yeah, sure.
If you want to let us know, want to see us ramble about them, we will look them up and have a little attempt at it.
Of course.
But I think we've been rambling for a while. This has been our second part of the Wolf and the Raven, Squiggly Beast, Suigpocalypse, Squigageddon.
Dances with Squigs. That's my name if I join a feral orc tribe. Dances with Squigs.
Dances with Squigs. You've always reminded me of, I've forgotten her name. I just see her as President Rosalind from Battlestar Galactica. But you've always Mary McDonald. You do remind me of Mary McDonald in so many ways. And I think on that'd be a good note to sort of leave it there. This has been Squiggly Beasts, and yeah, remember, if you send in your concepts and art of Squigs, if you've got any, and anything you want us to talk about, because we'll have a go. I'm Darth Sibius. With me, as always, is Ian Blood of Azerheim.
Somehow still sane.
Somehow still sane, and hopefully audio. I need to apologise because the light has gone weird in my house, and I kind of look like I'm kind of being ascended right now. I'm being raptured away. My face just keeps getting whiter, and I'm not sure.
Shit. You get raptured away, and I'm stuck here.
I'm a heretic. If I'm getting raptured, I'm probably getting raptured to the warp. But we're wrapping this up. So this is The Wolf and the Raven, Squiggly Beasts for Allies Index. Allies Index, a place for all things geeky gaming. AlliesIndex.com. Come and check out all the video games, card games, board games, tabletop, all that good stuff.
All
book
the
reviews. And if you want to get involved, just submit or speak to us about having a more regular thing and becoming part of the blog. We're mainly on Tumblr, but that's what kind of where we're based. We're on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all that good stuff. And we will hopefully do this again at some point soon, talking about something weird and wonderful.
And of course, if you have anything, put your suggestions in. If you have any weird bits of canon that aren't talked about anymore, go ahead.
Exactly, because the weirder and the more fun, the better. And we'll get into that. So we will catch you guys soon. Ta-da bye.